Today's video is a little bit different, and this video is about you. I might share some personal things from my life, but this video is about you. And today I wanted to ask you how you're doing. How are you really feeling? Life's kind of hard, huh? I know this. It's not funny. It's just, some people have it a little bit harder than others, and some of us are more sensitive than others. Some of us are more in tune than others. Some of us are, excuse me while I get my distractions out of the way. Some of us are just, we feel a lot more. And, you know, ever since we're little kids, we're told that our emotions are too big, or people can't handle them, or they're too much. And, you know, throughout teenage years and then throughout adulthood, by the time you know it, you're so busy pushing down your emotions that you no longer share with anybody how you're really feeling because you feel like nobody cares. And I wanted to sit on the other side of this camera and tell you that I care. I do. Your feelings are valid. They matter. You're not crazy. There's a reason you're feeling them. And this message is for me too. I'm not perfect. And this is one of my days where I have the emotional capacity to say these things because I am in a pretty good place. We're told how to live our lives. We're told how to feel. The internet is oversaturated with so many self-help videos, and they are helpful. But when you watch one after the next, after the next, after the next, it can be extremely overwhelming because one person says you should feel this way and one person says you should do that. And you're like, well, you have this internal conflict. You're like, well, if somebody would just tell me in chronological order what to do next, that would be great. But that's not how we're meant to live our lives. We're meant to be in nature. We're meant to feel things, especially, I'm talking to the people who are artistic, poets. You have a very creative brain. All you can think about is creating. And maybe you're somebody who's stuck in a 9-to-5 job that you absolutely hate. I've been there before, and that is soul crushing. And your feelings are valid for feeling that way. There's a reason why God, your creator, your higher power, I don't care what you believe in, source, there's a reason why God made you that way. And the reason I say this is because I feel guilty. I felt guilty in the past for starting a new job, and then, 3 to 6 months later, I'm already tired of it, or I'm tired the week after I start. But I'm in survival mode, and I just wanted to tell you today that there's a reason God made you that way, and the reason I know this is because I got the answer. You're not meant to settle. You're not meant to have the normal life. You're not meant to have the white picket fence and all the things that society tells you that you'd be happy with. Going to school, getting married, getting the girl or the guy and having that marriage and having that wedding, and then you get the house and you'll be happily ever after. That's not how life works. And it took me till almost 30 to really realize that, especially if you're somebody who is independent, you've taken care of yourself your whole life, you work for your own shit, and you take care of yourself. You are your sole provider. You're pulling the weight. And sometimes it gets exhausting. Sometimes it gets tiring. And a lot of times we keep this stuff locked up inside of us because we feel like nobody around us really understands. And a lot of times it's hard because when you're a person who is very self-aware and you're very in tune with your emotions, you know exactly how you're feeling. Maybe you're a wiser, an old soul. There's not a lot of people who really understand that. And it can make life seem very lonely, even though, okay, I want to say this about like relationships and stuff. Society tells you you need to be happy by yourself. You need to do this, you need to do that. And as much as that is wholeheartedly true, you can be the happiest ever, but we are made to be connected creatures. We are made to bond with people. We are made to have those social interactions. We're made to be with one another. And even in the Bible, it says it is not healthy for man to be alone. And a lot of times it's hard because we're being patient. We've done the inner work. And, sometimes you can be really hard on yourself and you're like, God, how much healing do I have to do to attract that right person into my life? And it ends up being like this race against ourselves and this race and this rush to just heal ourselves. And maybe we're not meant to rush into healing. Maybe we're meant to just embrace healing. Maybe we're meant to live in the present. Maybe we're going to have shortcomings. It doesn't matter how much you've healed. It doesn't matter how much work you've done on yourself. There's going to be time and time again where you fall short because we're human. We're not perfect. We're not meant to be. And I'm not saying go around and treat everybody like shit and then, you'll be rewarded. That's not one. I'm not saying that that's okay. But if you do make a mistake and you own it and you know what you did wrong and you try to do different, that's enough in itself. And a lot of times, especially if you're a person who has struggled with your mental health, maybe your entire life, maybe for a brief summary, there's going to be those people out there who have never struggled mentally like that, who don't understand. And it's hard to wrap your mind around that as well, because it's like, well, how do you not, like, it's hard to understand people who haven't gone through it because they don't understand you. And I think a lot of times, it's kind of like addiction, depression, divorce, these big things, these big emotional things we go through. There can be people who empathize with you, but they don't 100% understand. And it's hard to find, we want to be relatable and we want to seek comfort and we want to talk to somebody where there's those things that make us feel better. And sometimes we're so busy searching for these answers externally. These answers are deep within ourselves, and they're deep within our relationship with God. And one thing I struggle with a lot of times is quieting my life enough to hear him and hear the voice from source and hear the voice of God and just sit with him in his presence. There's times lately where I run from my emotions because it's uncomfortable. I've spent most of my life being depressed, and I'm like, I want to be happy, and I cling so tightly to joy and happiness because I don't want it to slip out of my fingertips, and that's not good either. But back to the relationship thing, I'm a little squirrel brain. I'm a little ADHD, my friends. You can do all the internal work you want. You can do all the healing you want. People are like, well, you just need to be happy. You're never going to be 100% happy. I think that there's a place that we can get to, and there's a place where our codependency can be worked through. But I think a lot of times in order to be in a relationship, that healing takes place in a relationship. And that relationship is not going to, probably not going to be easy. I don't know because I've never experienced a healthy relationship, but there's going to be triggers and there's going to be stuff that's brought to the surface. And I've heard this quote before, and it's like, you've met your soulmate when somebody is willing to do the work with you, when somebody is willing to be a teammate, when somebody is willing to work with these things with you, and you're not left doubting, questioning, left alone, crying. There's so many relationships where I've been too much for people, and it's not a character flaw within myself. Maybe people can look at it that way, but I have faith that the right person is going to understand those things within you, and they're going to want to understand and want to know, like, how can they help you with that, because they genuinely have so much care and support for you that they don't want to see you struggle like that. It's not that they're there to fix it. They're there to help guide you along because they're your best friend. And obviously we need to seek comfort in God first, and that's just my belief, and that comes second. But that person is going to help shape and mold you into a stronger version of yourself as well. There's these steps in life. And if you're a person who's struggling with your mental health or your depression, I just want you to know that if you're doing the best that you can, that's okay. And that's enough. It's enough in itself to just exist. The fact that you woke up today and you put on clothes, or maybe you haven't even brushed your teeth or your hair, the fact that you're breathing and you got up today and you did that one thing, that, making yourself coffee, even if it was just that for the day, it's enough. It's all baby steps. It's all things that have this ripple effect or this domino effect that help us in the end, that help us in our day-to-day lives. It starts with that small daily habit or that small self-care action that propels us forward. It's those small moments. It's like today, I woke up and I was feeling really negative this morning. It's something I struggle with, around the time where my mom passed away, like the anniversary. And I was feeling kind of very low, kind of in a low mood. And it took a lot of kind of mental talk and pepping myself up to kind of get into a good state of mind. I'm not 100% there yet, but I'm trying, and I think that that's important. And it's important to acknowledge those moments, because I think a lot of times we don't give ourselves enough credit. And I'm not saying walk around in an egotistical way. I'm saying that giving ourselves credit and giving ourselves the compassion, because we are human and we have to be there for ourselves, and we have to build that foundation in relationship with ourselves to trust ourselves enough to make decisions in the future. And a lot of times we second guess and we judge that voice, that internal intuitive feeling, and we second guess it. We're like, am I really hearing this right? I feel like if you have a gut feeling, you're onto something, you know. And I don't know, I think that that's probably all I have to say. This probably isn't going to be a very long video, but it's not about the length, it's about the impact that it leaves. And I feel like, God, I feel emotional about this. I feel like there is somebody on the other side of the screen that is really struggling, and I want to tell you today that everything is going to be okay. And you might be asking yourself how I know. Honey, it's because I've been through a lot myself. And I know that at the end of the day, the sun is going to shine after a gloomy day. Our coffee's going to taste better the next day. We can always improve our cooking skills. There's always going to be a meal that's going to taste better. And even if it's finding joy in that in itself is a blessing. And I'm not saying that to make you feel guilty whatsoever, but the fact that you're breathing is enough in itself. And I want to tell you today how proud I am of you for choosing to stay, choosing to pick yourself up every single day and keep going, because I know it's hard sometimes. I understand that. So if this video provided you with anything today, I hope it provided some comfort that things are going to get better and everything is going to be okay. And I hope it found you in the right time. And I'm happy you're alive. I'm happy you continue to go, persevere. And all those gifts and talents aren't for nothing. Sometimes, like Alex Hormozi said, sometimes the bigger the giant, sometimes the greater the story. And I hang on to that myself as well. So if you're seeing this today, I'm sending you all my love and grace and empathy. And give yourself some time to rest. It's okay to rest. Even if it's 5 or 10 minutes, sit with yourself, sit in your emotions, journal. Do something nice for yourself. Do a face mask, drink your favorite cup of coffee, watch a show. Who cares what anybody else says or thinks? It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, you're like 1% of their thoughts, not even. So it doesn't matter what people think. Do something kind for yourself today, and you know, you'll feel a little bit better afterwards. Tomorrow's a new day. So you got this. I believe in you, and everything's gonna be okay.